Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, my name is Michelle. If you're new here, I'm the one that's usually on the videos on YouTube, our knowledge base, and our Cedreo Academy. Today, we're going to go over kind of showing you how to create different structures. And one of them is going to be the container home, which actually we're going over the container home because we have a lot of people that kind of get stuck when they're building out the container home. And I kind of want to show you the possibilities of what you can do in our software in terms of that. So let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, for this demo, I have kind of like a neighborhood already drawn out, but we're going to add another house in the neighborhood. So I'm just going to kind of slide it over on this side. Actually, let's do it over here. When you're building out a container home, the first thing you want to keep in mind, another thing before I actually get started, if you do have any questions, go ahead and send me a message in our chat box, and I'll kind of keep checking back and forth to answer all your questions. And let's try to stay within the context of what we're talking about today. If we have some time left over, I will kind of open up the floor to ask any other questions. All right, so when you're building out something like a container home, the first thing you want to actually start doing is building out the structure. Don't worry about the doors just yet. Don't worry about the materials of the actual container. You want to start building out the structure. And that is just starting off with your layout step and using walls like regular. You can actually, if you have a plot of land that you want to plot out, or if you have a lot that you want to draw out, you can start with that. So you can go to layout step, select land, lot, and I'm just going to kind of sketch out this lot right here, specifically for our container home. Okay, and as you can see in the right up here, you'll be able to see where I've started to add that lot, where I've added a lot. And let me actually delete some of these from where the other house is so I can kind of clear this area. Okay. And the next thing you know, as you know in our software, you want to go up to your walls. If you go up one of your floors, you can either click here or you can just click on one of the walls and it's going to automatically take you to the ground floor. I'm going to zoom in so you can see where this lot is that I've created. You see the green structure right here. And then I'm going to start drawing out my walls. I'm going to use, let's say I'm going to do a 40-foot container. I want to zoom in my lot, and I'm going to start, let's say here. It's a lot wider than a regular container. But I'm going to now just enclose it a little bit. So let's say it's 40 by 20. And as you can see, it's not the exact measurement. So I'm just going to click here and change the dimension and extend it in the back. And then here, I want exactly 20. So I'm going to click on it, add the dimension line or the dimension symbol. Feet, inches, you have to add that. And even if you press enter, you don't want to press enter and click away. You want to press enter and then select where you want it to actually extend or retract. Click here. So now I have a 40 by 20 container. And like anything in our software, if you plan to add a roof, especially if you're going to add a flat roof, you want to be able to add a level above your ground floor with walls specifically for the roof. Now, this is for all of our roofs, and there's a few exceptions. And the reason being is you want to be able to make changes to the roofs and without it affecting your plan below. And most of the time people think, oh, I only have one floor, so I don't need, my plan only has one level, so I don't need two floors. But when you add the roof to the ground floor, the walls are automatically going to collapse. So I'm going to show you that right now. So I go to roof. I'm going to go to, let's say, flat roof and draw it in. And as you can see here, the walls automatically collapse because what happens is now the roof is using the walls on the bottom floor for support. So that's why it collapsed. So we always advise you to in the layout step, add a level. And I'm not gonna say yes because I have everything else. I don't want it to duplicate those walls, but you can say yes, and it's only gonna duplicate the exterior walls from the level below upstairs. Or you can just go ahead and, like I'm doing here, you can draw in the walls on the top floor. And this is the structure you're gonna get. Now, you might say, hey, but I don't need this second level, which is fine. Once we add the roof in there, the walls are going to collapse down. But you might not want this kind of flat ceiling in between both levels. You might want to see the container kind of exposed on the top. That's your option as well. Then you'll come to layout while still on the top floor, click in there, and then you're going to uncheck ground and baseboard. Now you're going to see both levels turns into one. All right. And then for this container home, we're going to just stick with the basics. I'm going to now go to my layout, my roof step. While on this top floor I just added, I'm going to add a flat roof. And as you know, when you're drawing out your roofs, you want to click directly on the outside of the walls. You don't want to add your roofs and put it inside of the walls, because those gray lines that you see, those are actual walls. So it matters how you're adding your roof. For example, if I were to add my roof and the line is kind of like this is what's going to happen. So the roof, when you look at it, you're like, oh, but Michelle, I added my roof right. But in the 3D view, you see there's some walls kind of still sticking out. Or it could even just be like this, right? And sometimes a lot of people get confused of what's happening. That's when I always recommend go back and zoom in to your project. Do not be afraid to zoom in. You want to make sure you have a mouse, not the trackpad, and not an Apple mouse. This is what a Logitech mouse with a rolling pin. You want to make sure you have that so you can be able to zoom in properly and just click on the corners and the edges of the roof to make sure it snaps back around the walls. My magnetism is on right here. That's why you see it snapping into place. If my magnetism was off, it won't snap in exactly how you want it to snap in. So also keep that in mind. I always keep my magnetism on unless I need to create something that's not exactly at the dimensions that the computer recognizes. So I'm gonna just go ahead and snap it in. So now we have this structure. It's very basic 40 by 20 container or structure, I should say. But prior to adding any of like the container features, we're gonna go in the wall opening step, and I'm going to add the container doors. It's going to be on exterior doors. It says double front door. You're gonna click on other. And now that we have our options to add favorites, you can just add a star on both of these. So you have one that's closed and one that's open. I'm gonna select the one that's open. And I'm just gonna drag and drop it right in the middle. Oh, wait, sorry. Make sure you're not on the top floor like I was just now. Make sure you're down on the ground floor. Now I'm gonna click and drop it in the middle. And it looks really small, right? So kind of not very realistic. But remember, with any of our wall openings and furnishing, you can adjust the dimensions in the right panel. So make sure it's selected. And then the right panel, I'm going to adjust the height and the width. So I want you to see how at the very top, the height, I have the height at 10 feet. And it kind of goes into the wall. That is because the height on the ground floor is shorter than 10 feet. So it's going into the wall on the top floor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the outside of the design, somewhere on the grid, and I'm going to adjust the height under the ceiling. I want to make it 9 feet. All right, so now that I've increased the height on the ground floor, you notice how my walls are my doors are no longer going into the walls. You can also come up to your roof level, click on the roof. Well, it's already at 0. You can make sure the base height is set at 0, but mine's already set at 0, so that's good. All right, and then the next thing you do, like any other structure that you're building, in the layout step, you can deactivate the roof that we just added, go down to the ground floor, because that's where we're working from, and then you can just section out the interior. Since it is a container home, you most likely only need to section out like a bathroom area, and I can do it right here. So we have this long bathroom. And as we're looking in the design, we have the bathroom here. Let me add the roof back in. We have the bathroom in here. And then same thing, you go to your wall opening step. We're going to add interior doors. Let me add I'm gonna add an open door. Okay. And then I'm going to adjust the dimensions for this door as well, adjust the width. And if I want to, I can adjust the height. You don't have to, but you can. You have this option. I selected an open door, or you can use a sliding door. Actually, I think I would prefer to use a sliding door. Or you can use a sliding door. And then same thing applies. You can adjust the dimensions and in the right panel. All right, now the thing about the container doors, especially in the wall opening step, make sure that while you're still in the wall opening step, this is where you want to choose the color of the door, because you're not going to be able to change the color on any other step. It has to be done in the wall opening step. So you're going to select it in the right panel, choose your colors icon. And on the top, it allows you to choose which section of the door you want to change. So the first one is the interior frame. And right now it's at a burgundy, it's in a burgundy color, but I want to make it a blue color, which is a boss for us. And then on my exterior frame, you can choose the same one. So now you see that my container doors is a boss. Or actually, I like the idea of doing a green color. All right, so once you have this mapped out, once you have all the doors you want to add, I'm going to add another sliding door for kind of like a patio access. Okay, and then I'm going to click on my container door, scroll down and change the orientation of where it's kind of coming out. Let me see. Nope, that's right. All right, and then I want to come to my material step. To make it look more like a container, this is where you want to come to your containers, their material step. And I'm going to open the catalog and select cladding. Under cladding, you will see a category that says metallic. Select all coatings. And now you see a number of metallic options. If you keep scrolling, you'll see the different types of metallic options. I'm actually going to select the first green option, and then I'm just going to hit, there you go. So now I have a green container, and I can click on this material and add it inside. And just make sure it's added everywhere on the inside. And then some people want it to be a little bit more realistic, so they can also select this material and add it to the roof. I'm gonna click and add it on the sides as well. Now, because it is a container, you might not need the parapets here, which is fine. You can come to your roof step, go up to your first floor, select each edge of your roof, and then on the bottom in the right panel, uncheck parapet to remove that, to make it a little bit more realistic in terms of your it being a container. It doesn't have to have this frame or parapet around it. All right. And another cool thing about creating a container home, now you can actually add different types of like surroundings. So for this, I'm going to come to my, let's go to, what's the place called? Exterior step. Make sure I'm on my ground floor. I'm going to select deck. Actually, no, first, let me select pavement because I want to add kind of like a paved area around my container. All right. And this paved area, we're actually going to eventually change it to where it's the material in the paved area is gravel. But for now, this is how you're going to add that kind of paved area to change it to gravel. Once you've added the paved area, then you come to your deck. And similar to how I have over here on the right, you're going to select deck, and then you're going to just draw out where you want to add this deck. So I'm just going to start here. And remember, when you're creating the deck, for every click, similar to how you're drawing out your a wall, every click is a turn, but you have to bring it all the way around to end it. All right. Now, the cool thing is you can then adjust the thickness. I want to bring the thickness up slightly, not too much. Make it 6 inches. And then I can make it like a double step down kind of deck. And then I'm going to bring this thickness up to 6 as well. Actually, no, make it 7. All right, so you have like a little bit of a step when you come to exterior. If you want it to be more of a step coming down, you can just lower the thickness of the deck below. And now it's more of a step. And then from here, you can just start furnishing inside of your container home. I want you to notice how you have a kind of like a ceiling that's in between these both areas. You can come to your layout step on the first floor, on the ground floor, click in here and then uncheck. Let me come here so you can see. It's right here. Uncheck the ceiling and that reviews the top. Make sure you have your interior walls that does not cut at the ceiling. So make sure you click and make sure it doesn't cut at the ceiling. All right, now you can go back and you can add in a ceiling if you like. That's perfectly fine as well. But I'm just showing you when you see that little space right here, that's because we added a level above for the roof. You have the option to kind of delete it or keep it on. What else? Then from there, actually, wait, let me see if anybody has any questions right now. Okay, we're good to go so far. All right, then from there, you can just continue to start adding material. So I'm gonna add a herringbone material as the flooring in here. I'm going to then add, I'm gonna change out the kind of flooring on the deck. So if I go outdoor floor, and where it says deck and driveway, I'm at all coating. And then I'm gonna change it to this material for my deck area. And then for my pavement, I've added, I can do gravel, different types, pebbles. And then just similar to how I have everything else, you can now go and add in your furnishing step, you can go and add like a carport. Okay, and you can even add, as you know, we have vehicles in the in a furnishing step that you can kind of add there. And you can change this vehicle if you want it to match the house. So now you've created a container home. And similar to how I have added it here, let me come over here. On the roof area, do you see here, I've kept my parapet and I've added kind of like a sitting area on the roof for this one with some stairs. You can do the same thing here, and you come to furnishing, make sure you have your outdoor stairs. Remember, all your furnishing, you don't want to add furnishing directly on the wall. You want to add it away from the wall and move it in. Increase the height. Change my view to top view to make sure I'm exactly where I need to be. Uncheck my collisions, because you see I do have a space between the stairs and the container, and I can move it closer in. Okay, and then make sure I activate it back and then turn my camera. If I need to, I can increase the height a little bit more. And then I can change my top view to top view camera and add railings around it. So all around, I'm gonna do that make sure I'm on my first floor. And then I'm gonna activate a repeat action so I can add railings all around. Oh, I already have it selected. Wait. And since I've already turned this one around, I'm gonna select it and copy it so it can stay turned around. And this is just a rough example of how to add railings, but I like to always suggest to add it from the top view, because then you have a better look of how you're adding it. And just zoom in, click on it, make sure it's all at the same elevation so they're all the same height. And then you can zoom in to make sure it's exactly where you need it to be. Also, deactivate your collisions so you're able to move it a little bit more precisely. Then turn this around, and you can add a sitting area on top of your container if you like. All right, does anybody have any questions about the container home or anything that I did not cover in terms of being able to build out a container home? Okay. Does anybody have any questions about anything other than the container home? I know you guys have had access to our knowledge base. So if you want any more videos, we do have a whole array of videos on the knowledge base. All of the webinars I've done before are going to be on the knowledge base as well. If you scroll towards the bottom, it says webinar replays. If you're also signed up for this webinar, it's going to be sent to you automatically. So look out for that in your email, just in case there's something that you don't remember or you want to go over it once again. And we do have something called our Cedreo Academy. We started at the beginning of this year as a free in-depth training, just to kind of give you a more in-depth look of how to complete your project and how to work within the software. If anybody wants a link to that training, you can send me an email, or can you, oh, I do have a question. Can you change angles by typing it in the degrees? Change angles in terms of adding your furnishing? Is that what you're asking? Because if so, yes, you can. It's if you select it at the bottom in the right panel, you see where it says angle. I can type in 90 degrees. And for the item that I have selected, should be able to turn. See, you can change it here. You can type in 90. Yep, so you're able to type in the angle that you're changing it to. Just make sure you have that item selected and it's in the right panel towards the bottom. Oh, walls. You can't change the angles of the walls by adding in the degrees, because when you're drawing in walls, they're all straight lines. However, when you click on your corners of the walls that are already meeting, you will see that it says 90 degrees on it. If your magnetism is activated, if it's not 90, you should be able to just have it snap right back into 90. If your magnetism is activated, if it's deactivated, it'll give you a harder time snapping into exactly 90 degrees. So I always suggest make sure your magnetism is activated. Now, if you do not need it to be 90, let's say you need it to be like 180, or you're creating a curve, you want to make sure magnetism is deactivated, click and start drawing, and then just for every click, creates a turn within the walls if you're creating a curve. But you cannot type in the exact degrees that you need to create like the different walls. Oh, I did it on the first floor, but you can kind of see what I did here. Anybody have any other questions before we get off today? Thank you guys for joining me today. Remember, this is going to be emailed to you, and you can also access our knowledge base from the planner. Click on this question mark right here. It'll give you all the different options for the knowledge base. And any one of these steps that you click on, it will take you on an external screen to the knowledge base with a whole bunch of other different tutorials and videos. And if you need our link to the Cedreo Academy, please let me know and I'll go email me. Or if you're a professional or enterprise user, send me a message in the chat and I will send you guys the link for our Cedreo Academy. All right, thank you guys. Have a good day. Bye-bye.